More than enough to let the light in. The way you're making me feel, it's divine. It's enough to let it flow, let it be. 'Cause you're everything that I crave in this life. 'Cause we're everything we can find in another life. Take my hand and my promises, they're yours to be held, and I want you. I only want you. Keep my heart and my honor is yours to be held, and I want you. I only want you for the rest of my life. My life, for the rest of my life. You're in my sight and my mind, in the quiet and up front out loud, in the calm, in my spirit and the storm. 'Cause you're everything that I crave in this life. 'Cause we're everything we can't find in another life. Take my hand and my promises, they're yours to be held, and I want you. I only want you. Keep my heart and my honor is yours to be held, and I want you. I only want you for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. For the rest of my life.
Welcome to the locker room. I am so sorry I was late. There we go. I'm telling you, if it can go wrong, it will. Today has not been a good day. But anyway, better safe than sorry. So there's something I wanted to pull up right here real quick, and I want to type this down into the bottom. Go back up there. Whoops. Okay. Whoops, you can't see it. Okay. There. Now I'll type this in. Why does it keep going away? All right, there, maybe. Okay. Okay, they're doing the mob crew and some other people have gotten together and they're doing a fundraiser for a special search for Sebastian Rogers. And in the first comment, I have put this website so you can click if you want to, if you feel led to be able to give and help with Sebastian Rogers. Okay. I just wanted to mention that I saw it on Mob Crew's site. He did a live yesterday about it. I didn't take time to watch the live. I just looked at the deal, created a thumbnail, put the website on the thumbnail, and that's all I know. Mob Crew says within 2 weeks we should know as much as he knows, because he should be able to. He said it's going to be BAM! Everybody's going to know in 2 weeks something big. All right, and I'm looking forward to that. All right, so we all heard about the ICE shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota on the 7th, which was 2 days ago. And I spent this morning, because when I was in physical therapy, my physical therapist says, I can't believe what Donald Trump said about that. And I'm like, what was he talking about? And he told me it was the ICE thing. And I was like, oh, I need to go home and research that, find out what's going on there. So I came home and spent 3 hours doing research. And I didn't find what Donald Trump said about it. I guess somebody hid that or something. I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't for my eyes to see. So, but I did find some other stuff, and let's just jump right on into it. Because I showed my husband the news clip on this, and he was like, he shouldn't have made that shot. So, all right.
Following breaking news in Minneapolis, where city officials confirm a shooting occurred reportedly involving a federal ICE agent and a civilian this morning. You see the live pictures right there. Our Whitney Wild is there on the ground. Whitney, tell us what's happening right now.
There's a link to this site in the description of this video down below, if anybody's interested in going to look at it.
Dana, we're in the heart of Minneapolis. We're here on East 35th and Portland Avenue. And let me show you first, I'll show you who's on scene. That is Mayor Jacob Frey. He's the mayor of Minneapolis. To the side here on the left side of your screen, that is Police Chief Brian O'Hara. There is an enormous law enforcement presence here from multiple different jurisdictions. Our photographer is going to show you what the crowd looks like here, Dana. Mayor Frey is now leaving. I think you're probably starting to hear people yelling to him, but he is now leaving. He had spoken with some people on the edge of the crowd when he first arrived, according to a man who had video of it. He did not come back to the crowd. Now a crowd is following him down the street. But what you're looking at right now is the law enforcement response here. So you see Minneapolis police, you see the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department. We've also seen the U.S. Marshals here. We've seen Customs and Border Patrol. But let me bring you up to speed with what we know. As you said, we know that there was a shooting involving federal law enforcement near East 34th Street in Portland.
The federal law enforcement they're talking about was the ICE agent that actually was the one that did the shooting.
Avenue. That was according to the city of Minneapolis. We do not yet know for sure what the extent of any injuries are or what prompted this. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has weighed in, saying my public safety team is working to gather information on an ICE-related shooting this morning. Again, Mayor Jacob Frey is here. This is all in the context of this ramped up immigration enforcement that DHS has been touting. They say this is the largest immigration crackdown to date, 2,000 agents spread throughout the Twin Cities. This has been going on for a couple of days now. We know that DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was here in the Minneapolis area yesterday. And what we see now is this real peak moment here where, based on our understanding, there was a shooting involving federal law enforcement here, and as Governor Tim Walz said, involving an ICE agent.
They've actually moved on down the block from where that happened. I'll show you in a minute.
We are learning to, trying to learn as much as we can. But let me just get you, another picture of the crowd here, because this is a city where these George Floyd riots are not far in the rearview mirror. And what I keep hearing from people in this area is they say, if you thought that was bad, this city is about to explode. And so the line that Minneapolis police are towing right now is to try to keep this calm and not inflame the crowd, because they do not want another major eruption. They cannot have a repeat of the George Floyd riots. And so right now what you're seeing is, it is loud, Dana, but this is very controlled. We've seen a lot of flare-ups between the public and law enforcement in Chicago, for example. This is a very controlled scene, although it is noisy. And we're continuing to try to find out more about what happened. But Dana, that's the latest here.
Whitney, you probably can't hear yourself think because it's so loud there. It's a little hard for us to hear what you're saying, because obviously there are a lot of people there who are quite angry. If you can hear me, and perhaps it's too early to know the answer to this, but it sounds like officials are being quite careful when they just say a shooting involving a federal agent. Does that mean that somebody who they were going after, who ICE was going after, was shot? Was there a shootout, or we don't know?
We don't know. We don't know yet. I don't know if you can hear me, but it's starting to get really spicy. So let me give you context of what is going on here. Dana, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I'm going to pull my microphone a little closer to my mouth. Okay. That's Police Chief Brian O'Hara right now. The crowd is really directing their frustration that direction at the moment. People here are really angry. We're hearing them yell at the Minneapolis Police Department. They don't feel like the Minneapolis Police Department is serving the Minneapolis voters, the Minneapolis taxpayers right now. And so right now what you're hearing is a lot of anger directed toward the local law enforcement here, even though they were not involved in this shooting, as far as we know, Dana.
All right, Whitney, we're gonna let you go. Obviously, it is interesting that you're saying that their anger is towards local law enforcement. I would imagine in addition to federal law enforcement, ICE agents in particular. So we're going to let you go. We're going to let you do some reporting. Stay safe, and we will get back to you as soon as you get more. Thanks so much for your terrific reporting, Whitney. DHS has confirmed that an individual has died. The alleged perpetrator was hit and is deceased. ICE officers who...
Most people over 40 will enter 2026 still using ChatGPT like Google. Don't be one of them.
Who were hurt are expected to make full recoveries. Can you fill in the blanks, Priscilla?
Yeah, Dana, let's set the scene here. So in Minneapolis right now, the Department of Homeland Security has surged thousands of agents. There are around 2,000 agents that have been deployed to the state of Minnesota, and there have been ongoing operations, especially in Minneapolis. So that is what has been ongoing in that city and in that area. And this morning, the Department of Homeland Security says that they were conducting what they call these targeted operations. That is to say that they went out to a location, they had a target in mind. Over the course of that operation, according to their statement, ICE officers and one of these violent rioters they're calling weaponized their vehicle. This is according to their statement. And they also go on to say, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers. And they call this an act of domestic terrorism. And they say that is what prompted an ICE officer, who they said was fearing for their life, to fire these defensive shots. And this alleged perpetrator was hit and is deceased. This is according to the Department of Homeland Security. I have asked the Department of Homeland Security if this was a U.S. citizen, because we do not know the status of this individual who was in this vehicle. Now, of course, we have seen in multiple cities that the actions of ICE as they carry out their operations has prompted protesters and rioters at some of these operations. But generally, I will say, Dana, in talking to my sources over the course of the morning, there are a lot of questions here about these defensive shots the Department of Homeland Security is talking about, because generally the policy for ICE officers to use to shoot would be if the subject poses, quote, an imminent threat of serious injury and or death. So there are a lot of questions here as to what prompted that defensive shot outside of the use of the vehicle. And it is these types of questions that would prompt also an internal investigation at the Department of Homeland Security typically to try to get the answers as to what exactly unfolded here for there to be a fatal incident that includes immigration and customs enforcement. And again, it is immigration and customs enforcement that was involved here, according to DHS. Recall that there are multiple agencies that are on the ground doing these immigration enforcement operations, and even photos of the scene showed, at least after the fact, that it was both ICE on the ground as well as local police department and U.S. Border Patrol, which has similarly been deployed to Minneapolis to continue the operation. So we are still trying to seek more answers here, Dana, but at the outset, what we know is that there was an ICE-involved shooting, that there has been a fatality. We're trying to get what the status of that person was, if they were a U.S. citizen, but of course against the backdrop of this massive immigration operation.
Priscilla, thank you so much for that reporting.
Okay. I have to answer a text right here, right quick. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So that's what they're saying. That's basically from the information I was able to gather today, the beginning of the story. So let's go on to the next one. Here's another reporter. This is from MSN Now. The link is in the description.
Building. So first, let me thank you. But next, let me ask you to do what you've been doing all day and tell me what's happening on the ground.
Thanks, Nicole. I want to set the scene here. This is the place where this 37-year-old woman was shot and killed. And to give you a bit of a timeline, at around 9:50 a.m. this morning, I received a text from what's known as an ICE observer. That's a community member here in Minneapolis who watches immigration raids and alerts members of the community.
Good afternoon, H. Davis. How are you doing today?
Immigration forces are in the area to keep people safe. That text read that somebody was shot and killed by an immigration officer. We arrived on the scene. We saw.
What's the matter? I'm heartbroken about this story and the way the government agencies are handling it.
It closed off, fenced off, and we saw a large law enforcement presence. In that law enforcement presence.
I'm sorry. I don't know who Miss Ann is, but I'm sorry for your loss. Prayers go out to her family.
Included Border Patrol agents, ICE agents, and we saw very elevated tensions. We saw tear gas being shot between protesters and police. Then eventually we got the confirmation from DHS and from Mayor Fry that somebody was shot and killed at this very spot where these flowers are being laid right now, Nicole. Now, there are two very different narratives between Mayor Fry and DHS.
It's always hard when somebody passes away. It really does hurt, especially if you knew them very well. And I can't imagine what you're feeling. I'm sorry. I mean, I know what I feel when my family or close friends pass away. So, I mean, I'll pray for you.
DHS claiming that the woman was shot in an act of self-defense from a federal agent. Mayor Fry calling that a garbage narrative. I will say there was a gruesome image that has stuck with me from this morning where you could see the woman who was shot inside of her car, blood splattered on the airbag at the very front of that.
I guess I didn't know her channel. I'm sorry. I guess that'd make her like a YouTube sister to me, the sister that I didn't even know I had.
Car. Now, I want to see if I can introduce you to the neighbor of the owner of this house. His name is Eugene Bentley, and he saw this happen earlier this morning. Bear with me, Nicole, one moment. It's very icy here, so we want to make sure that our cameraman is safe. Here we go.
Wasn't that? So do you think that when you said that it was he wanted to shoot him, probably maybe he wanted to shoot her?
Yeah.
That's like a culture in ICE that's like toxicity.
I'm not for sure. I don't want to, just go off the hinge with it, but it's just, I know when you're trying to provoke someone, or you just trying to be doing too much, just doing too much.
Mr. Bentley, do you mind breaking down what exactly you saw this morning?
Basically, ladies trying to warn everyone ICE is in the neighborhood. Just letting them know, hey, and telling ICE, hey, you're destroying families, whatnot. Stop doing this. Hey, get out of here. Stop that. She reversed so traffic can go by. The pickup truck, gray pickup truck, officer ICE got out and was telling her, hey, didn't tell her anything really, just telling her I'm going to open up your door and I'm going to get you out. And that's when the shooting happened, and the car took off, and then it sped off and crashed right into the cars.
Can you talk about the agent that was stepped in front of the car?
The way he was in the clear. There was another one at the front part of the car on the driver's side, and there's one right there by the door that's opening, trying to get in the door. Then you have one that's in front of the car that was already coming from the side, and he was just getting clear because he already see that, hey, this person could take off, but maybe I'll try to intimidate you with my gun. But I don't think the lady was looking that way towards the front because she's worried about this.
Someone's trying to get in her door.
And
she's 65 years old. I mean, she's probably scared. She's trying to help out and scared at the
She
same
was
time.
actually
Mr.
37.
Bentley, DHS is calling this domestic terrorism. They're saying that the officer shot in self-defense. Does that match up with what you saw this morning?
You only saw it for a brief second, but it didn't look like self-defense to me, because her wheels were definitely turned where she was going to make the turn, and he was over to the corner of her vehicle. Even if he had not moved at all, she would not have hit him when she went past him.
I have no comment on that. I just can only tell you what I seen, and that's it. That's it. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not none of that. I don't know the law like that, but I just know that I seen what I seen. I didn't, I just felt like the officer shouldn't have shot the gun. That's all. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley. And Nicole, what we've seen since this incident is two very different reactions. We've seen as immigration, as Border Patrol, as law enforcement was leaving the scene, confrontations between protesters and those federal agents. We saw a lot of tear gas fired. We saw canisters, one of which I picked up, protesters crying with their eyes in serious pain. And we've seen those protests, which escalated in tension, move away from this scene of where this woman was shot. Separately, you're seeing what you see right now, Nicole, which is Minneapolis community members planting flowers, commemorating the 37-year-old woman who lost her life, still raw from the murder of George Floyd, which happened but 0.4 miles from this very spot about 5 years ago. Nicole?
Alex, I want you to keep going, but let me just introduce this account from the Minneapolis chief of police, and I'll have you pick it up on the other side. This is what he said transpired. Quote, "The preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene and assisted in trying to preserve the evidence that is there. We have since turned over the scene both to the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which will be conducting an investigation into this use of deadly force. That's local law enforcement. The Secretary of Homeland Security called it domestic terrorism and seemed to speak as though she had all the facts. Stephen Miller has tweeted a similar narrative that seems conclusive in terms of what they believe happened. Donald Trump has done the same. Is it your sense that the state and local investigative actions are the only investigations into what has happened today, or do you have any information that suggests anyone else is investigating the facts and talking to people like Eugene Bentley, who witnessed the shooting and the killing?
Well, Nicole, what I can tell you is that the state and local law enforcement account that you just read out there matches in many ways our experience here. Now, of course, we arrived on the scene about 20 to 30 minutes after the first report of this incident from an ICE verifier. But we can say pretty clearly that this woman was shot in the front seat of her car based on the fact that there's an image that I will never be able to get out of my head of blood spattered on an airbag. We can say pretty definitively that the car was stuck there for a very long period of time. I do remember seeing the Federal Bureau of Investigation agents taking photos of the crime scene before the car was towed. So that might indicate that there is some level of investigation from the federal
Trigger warning, trigger warning.
government, but much more than that, Nicole, given that we were here in the half hour after this transpired, I can't say definitively one way or the other.
Okay. I'm sorry about that image at the very end. Here's another news view from Fox 9 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and there's a link to this in my description.
ICE-related shooting. This now the first time that we're really hearing some more details from law enforcement.
Yeah, we know that the call was made maybe about 10 o'clock this morning, so just about 3 hours or so ago. In that press conference, we did get some more information about this woman who was, we know, at this point shot and killed by ICE agents. We have learned that she is a 37-year-old white woman. She appeared to be in the vehicle alone, is what the police chief said. But the spouse has made it to the hospital. But we probably should take you back just a little bit about just some of the chain of events that have happened now that we have some of that information confirmed.
And interestingly, we really still haven't learned what the initial call was, why ICE was there in the first place, who they may have been looking for. But we know that while ICE agents were there, according to Mayor Fry, there were about a dozen or so plus agents there, and that, you know, we've seen there's some video out there. We're actually going to be showing it to you here shortly so you can see for yourself. But in the course of, you know, of them looking for somebody, people started to gather, crowd started to gather, more law enforcement shows up. And I'm not exactly sure at what point the incident happened with the woman.
They're whatever it is that's translating what they're saying to words is not a very good program.
In the vehicle, but we know that there was a woman in the vehicle, and according to again, you'll see the video for yourself and you can kind of watch. There are two narratives here, one from the Trump administration, which we'll read to you in a second, and then one we just heard from local law enforcement. Okay, and Ryan's telling me that we are actually ready to show the video. So before we layer too much context here, why don't we just let you watch this? But we're going to do this in a very sort of deliberate way. Let people know that this is video we're showing for the first time. You're not going to see it a lot on our air because we want to make sure that when we're showing it, we're doing it with a purpose. So there's no audio here as well, and you're going to see this sort of play out. So just a warning to those who may not want to see this. You can see the vehicle there. That's law enforcement pulling up in the pickup.
And it is the Honda Pilot that we should be focused on here. It's about a purplish reddish color here.
Okay, you saw the gray car that she was backed up and let go around. She motioned them around. And then this gray truck pulls up. This guy walks up nonchalant. And it looks like he's telling this officer, hey, no force needed. But he's just, we don't know what he's saying. This officer's walking up with, get your butt out of the car. I'm going to get you out of the car. That's what it looks like to me. Now, okay.
So let's take a look.
Agent walking up. And then there's another agent. I don't know if you can see that one right there.
Yeah, three agents involved. One was kind of closer to the front of the vehicle. The other kind of pulled on that driver's side door handle.
Yeah.
There
So again, there's no audio here. We don't know what's being said. We don't know really anything else about this woman, other than we know that she was not the target of the initial investigation. That was confirmed by the police chief. But there are some other angles of this as well that are being looked at. So that's kind of one pass of the video. And again, right. Okay, thanks for letting us know. Sorry. So there is some audio to this, and if you go online, you can see. So now you can see the vehicle is crashed. Yep. And according to law enforcement here in the Twin Cities, that woman was shot, and then the vehicle drove into the snow there, as you can see. So this is kind of the aftermath right now. This video is turned the other way. We want to just show you what's happening. We didn't have a lot on the front end of this, and every time we show video, we kind of like to show prior the incident and then as much after. But this is what we have, so we wanted to show it to you in full.
And this is also the first time that we are seeing this as well. So we're kind of just watching this together along with you. But as you can see there, you see all these houses and these homes along Portland Avenue. We know that this is a residential area. So again, we don't know much about this woman, just that she's 37 years old. We don't know if she was an observer, because that's the thing too. So a lot of these ICE agents were out there, and they say observers were out there as well. These are people that are just documenting what is going on. And so we know from the police chief's perspective, he just says that he knows that she was a woman that was in her car and she was blocking the road. Yeah. And that's about all the information that we know.
Okay, right. You let me know when this is played out completely or how close we are. Oh, there's a couple minutes left, because I just wanted to also read, because we haven't had a chance to do this, the statement from Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Security, if I could as well. Do you want me to do that right now, Ryan, or do you want me to wait just a minute? Okay. Okay, so let's just kind of let's just watch this for a moment. Again, this is the aftermath. And you saw the shot fired there by the officer on the left-hand side of your screen. Let people have a little traction here. Let's kind of watch this, and we'll let you just watch.
She wasn't anywhere near that officer right there. And he had his cell phone out videoing him shooting her.
Yeah, and Saw the shot fired there by the officer on the left-hand side of your screen. Let's read through the statement that the Trump administration had put out just a short time ago. I believe we have that up if we want to take that. Today, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations.
Can we say lies, lies, lies? This is lies. I'm telling you, this is lies.
When rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them, an act of domestic terrorism. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers. So,
okay, so I do not believe that, not one word of it. I mean, you can tell by this video that I'm fixing to show you that it was in no way self-defense. This is from CBS Evening News, and there's sound to this video.
No! No! Shame! As cops, we're responsible for every single round that leaves our weapon.
Eric Ballier is a 25-year career federal agent who most recently oversaw use of force investigations for Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI. We asked him what to make of the tactics used by federal agents in the fatal Minnesota shooting.
In my 25 years, I've done hundreds of vehicle stops. If someone is fleeing, that is not a justification for the use of deadly force.
In this moment, the officer crosses in front of the vehicle. He opens fire on the driver, 37-year-old Renee.
Did you notice he's holding his cell phone? He's videoing what he's doing. That's not the story they're going to give you.
Good. The government says the officer shot the driver in self-defense.
She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over.
But the footage tells a different story. In this clip, we see Good waving cars by, and one car drives past her stopped vehicle.
Like they're somewhat impeding the ICE guys, although you did see the SUV drive around them.
Next, officers exit the car and approach Good's vehicle.
Right out of the gate, it's escalatory in nature. And
look, she put her car in reverse to back up and get out of their way.
And then the agent with the black mask reaches for the driver's side door handle to try to open it. From the video, like the reverse lights are on.
From this other video angle, we can see that
this is the officer that did the shooting. See his camera? I'm filming the whole thing.
Officer has already crossed in front of the car. He's holding a cell phone.
They're trying to essentially take some sort of recording or photograph of the driver to show or identify her as a antagonist to their enforcement operations. What he does is cross in front of and stay in front of a occupied running vehicle. You should not be intentionally putting yourself in front of a vehicle unless absolutely necessary. And with a cell phone in his left hand, he draws his pistol with his right hand, and in very quick succession, rattles off 3 rounds.
Under the Department of Homeland Security's use of force policy, firearms may not be discharged solely to disable a moving vehicle, and shooting at a moving vehicle is tightly restricted.
So my training was that you cannot use deadly or lethal force solely to stop a fleeing vehicle. Do you have another option other than pulling the trigger?
The Trump administration maintains the agent opened fire to avoid being run over, but the direction of the tires appears to be facing away from the officer to the right. There's still a dispute as to whether the officer was grazed or struck by the Honda. He continues to fire even after moving out of the way of the vehicle.
If she is intentionally trying to hit that agent or officer, those tires are pointed in the opposite direction, and the vehicle's trajectory after the shots would be continuing to the left.
After 3 shots, the car veers away. According to Ballier, both the officer's gunfire and the car accelerating could have put agents and the surrounding crowd of bystanders in danger.
These are all factors that law enforcement officers have to weigh before pulling the trigger.
See, she was going to go around that officer and get out of the way. She was going to leave the scene. And he proceeds. First of all, you don't fire a weapon in this position. You fire a weapon straight up and down. And my dad used to teach gun safety courses, so I'm educated in this because as a child, I used to have to go sit in those courses like twice a month for 6 months every year. You don't fire a weapon with your hand on the side like that. And then after he fired the first shot and jumped out of the way, that weapon aimed right at that other officer that was holding the handle and fell away from the vehicle, jumped back away from the vehicle. And then he goes back to shoot inside the car window. Now, he very well could have shot that other officer right in the head. He put that other officer right in danger. That's just what I saw. This guy, the observe. I have a link to his description in the bottom of also. I've never heard of him, but to listen, I'm going to go. It had some pictures on it earlier that were not proper to show on my channel. I reported them because they were very awful, very awful. Ooh. Okay, anyway, so this guy, I'm sorry, I didn't catch his name earlier.
Of 2025, yesterday, as of right now, Trump's militia force ICE shot and killed 37-year-old mother of 3, Renee Nicole Good. Good had only recently moved to Minneapolis from Kansas City and had lived the average life of any U.S. citizen. She was a poet, she was a musician, and an occasional podcaster. While she had worked temporarily as a dental assistant and a credit union worker, she spent the majority of her time as a stay-at-home mom. Devout Christian, she was described by her mother as extremely passionate. Her mother continued to tell the daily newspaper that she's taking care of people all of her life. She was loving, forgiving, and affectionate. She was an amazing human being. However, according to the Trump administration, she was a domestic terrorist who viciously attempted to run down innocent ICE agents who were simply trying to do their job. The only issue is the video footage provided by other U.S. citizens does not line up with what we are being told by our government. The short video clips present a much different story, and it has left countless outraged. Even as I'm recording this right now, protests and ceremonies are surfacing around the country, both for the passing of a loving young mother, but also for the brutal method in which she was killed. The mayor of Minneapolis has taken a strong stance against the ICE forces infiltrating the city, demanding that they get the
This cookie dough parfait is my new favorite high-protein snack, all thanks to Hungry Root. Being
out of the city, and that they are not wanted there. In light of the conflicting stories being delivered to the public by the government at this point, I'm going to be analyzing the nonverbal communication visible of the agents involved in order to determine whether or not this was an act of self-defense against a domestic terrorist set on violence, as we are being told, or if it is something else entirely. Before continuing, this video does not show any footage of the victim herself, but the implied actions displayed can be troubling honestly, to many. So please proceed cautiously with that in mind. Most of the footage is muted. However, in the
He's saying trigger warning.
initial clip, the audio has been included because I feel like in incidents like these, while they are extremely troubling, I don't think that they should be softened to become more comfortable or palatable for the general public. I know that analyzing these clips and footages can put me in a dangerous position considering how the government is handling the situation at the moment. But in my opinion, transparency is far more important than safety. With that being said, let's look at the footage. It's going to get bad fast. I'm going to talk about what we're seeing from the two agents that have just stepped out of the vehicle there. The first one comes out and he steps out in a way that you wouldn't anticipate. He's not stepping out anticipating a lot of intense action. He comes out, he looks around, he's not moving very forcefully or aggressively. That's what you would hope to see in a situation like this. He's relaxed, he's not prepared for intense action. The driver, on the other hand, comes out and his sole intent is aggression. That is made extremely clear by the promptness that he moves towards the vehicle and by the movements themselves. They're broad and they're sharp. He's taking very large strides and he's very tense. This isn't somebody who's looking to gently guide somebody out of the way or anything that would be considered civil. This is somebody who is looking for a confrontation. If you see this in your personal life, if somebody strides up to you like that agent strode up to that car, you should feel in risk. They don't have good intentions. The aggression is showing too clearly for that to be the case. If you see that coming up in your personal life, try to get away if possible. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. As we'll continue through this, you'll see that the vehicle is not just assailed from one side by ICE agents, it's surrounded. So she's becoming trapped by aggressive people who you can see through their nonverbal communication. The aggression is clear. You could see that their intent is aggression. Her intent is to move. Now, like I said, as we continue through this footage, it's not good. It is a bad time. But we have some things to talk about.
No! Shame! Shame! Oh my God! What the fuck? What the fuck?
Now I'm presuming the lady in the white beanie was a bystander, just videoing what was going on from a close-up angle. I wish we could have her video.
I looked at a lot of footage for this, a lot of different angles, the aftermath, the post where the neighbors are there. Really, a lot of the footage that you're seeing is from the neighbors of the community that this happened in. And the mannerisms at which the agents handled this was mixed. Some were trying to approach it level-headedly and try to be calm, as you would hope somebody in charge of a situation would be. Other ones were using aggressive language and excessive force with their verbal presentation towards the surrounding people. Again, the tone of the team that was there was not peaceful. It was not investigative. It was there with intent for aggression. Their verbal patterns show it, and their nonverbal patterns show it. Now, as we're going to continue through this, we're going to look at this footage through different angles to be able to determine some other factors as well, and we'll continue to break this down as we go through it. There's not much footage, but there's enough to be able to gather some good information with and get the truth rather than what we're being told. So there, that last little brief clip there, you can see the ICE agent leaning across the vehicle. He's off to the side, right? His body is to the corner of the vehicle. It takes all of 6 inches for him to clear it, and then he's clear. And so as Good is pulling forward, she has her wheels fully turned. If you watch, and I don't understand how this even needs to be clarified. When a car's wheels are pointed a direction, that means that's the direction the person who is pointing them that way wants the car to go, and that's the way that the car is going to go. The ICE agent steps up in front of the car from around the side of it, which we'll be able to see in some other footage here as well. He steps from around the side of it to try to block her in as she's trying to get out of this situation. She is parked there. You can see other vehicles have already passed through. Then they trap her in. And so she is being surrounded by multiple full-grown militaristic men. One of them, at least, is extremely aggressive in his nonverbal communication and verbal communication to her. And then the person who is run down so viciously and heartlessly is standing in front of her car with the intent of blocking her in, while still you can see that he is positioning himself to be able to move. He's able to move out of that way, which that lets us know as the public watching. He knows what he's doing. He wasn't just standing in the road and she drove to find him. He stepped in front of her car to make it to where she can't escape, and that was her goal. Her goal was to get out from the situation that the ICE agents put her in. That's a massively different story from what we're being told. Now, this footage is from a CCTV across the way. It's a security camera, from my understanding, across the way. This is not one that's shown nearly as regularly to the public. It's not shown on the news stations nearly as much. This one is obtained by CNN, so some are, but it's rare. So this provides us a little bit clearer view as to what happens on the other side of the vehicle. So we're going to watch this, and then it's going to zoom in a little bit, talk about some things, and wrap up from there. So first, obviously not much has happened, but you saw the white car drove through. She's not blocking anything. She's pulling forward to move forward with the white car to leave the area. And some things to pay attention to on this is to watch where she's trying to go. Watch her tires, because again, even though apparently the government can't conceive of this, the tires are pointed where the car's going to go. It's the intent of the car. And whether or not an agent steps in front of the intended direction of the car is more up to the survival instinct of the agent rather than the actual driver themselves, who intended exclusively on driving away. So watch her tires and watch the agents.
Did you see that? We'll back up just a second. Okay. Now let me show you. Okay, this car's going past. I just noticed this. This police officer, this is an innocent person, a bystander. This is the police officer. He goes back to his car. Now his hands appear to be empty from this view. He goes back to his car, gets his phone, and then comes in front of her car with his phone. And gets in front of her and then shoots her. There was no reason for that.
At this point, I'm pausing. You could see 4 military men have just converged onto an innocent civilian bystander. 4 of them aggressively converged. At least one was overtly aggressive. Again, the driver of the pickup truck, his one intent, as shown by his nonverbal communication, is aggression. and to a physical degree. He doesn't go up and say, hey, please step out of your vehicle. He doesn't do anything like that. He immediately walks up and starts yanking on her door. That is purely physical aggression. And so as a woman who I guarantee you is not the size and stature and build of a military man, as 4 military men converge on her in her vehicle, in her neighborhood, where she should be safe, she tries to escape the situation. But instead of allowing her to leave, which again, she has done nothing wrong at this point. She was an innocent bystander. Instead of allowing an innocent bystander to leave, they try to trap her in. Now, I don't know how many of you have been in a position of danger like that, physical danger. Your response, unless it's to freeze and shut down, is going to be to fight or flight. She's not looking to fight 4 men. She doesn't want to freeze in the situation. Her response is to get out. And honestly, that's evolutionary. We're ingrained to get out of dangerous situations because they're dangerous. So she's in fight or flight, likely very terrified. We've all seen the things on the news about how ICE handles stuff. It's never well. And so she's seen this sort of thing, and these men are coming towards her. I guarantee you her emotion is not, I am a domestic terrorist and I'm looking to cause damage to all of these military men with armed weapons and things like that. That's not her mindset. She's in a car. She is blocks away from her house. She wants to get out and to be safe. So now, as these 4 men converge onto her vehicle, she backs up to try to exclusively do one thing: to get out, to turn and leave. If she just wanted to strike an ICE agent, there was no need for a backup. What was she doing? Winding up? She's backing up to get a better exit. And that is where the problem is that our government is saying that she wanted to cause domestic terrorism. This was an attack on our good, kind-hearted ICE agents, and it's not. As shown by this. This is upsetting to me. I know that I can get in trouble for this. I know that I can get in legal trouble for this. But this is upsetting. Regardless, though, we have more to work through here. And then we're going to watch some of the statements from the Trump administration and the people who are involved. Let's see. All right, so you see there again at the end, her tires are turned. She has only the intent to leave. What is fascinating to me is that the agent who was at risk, the agent is at risk of being run over by the car that he stood in front of, intentionally making it stop kind of thing. Oh, he's at risk of being run over. No shit. But on top of that, he wasn't innocent. You see well before she starts moving forward, he's already got his gun ready. And that's in gun safety. A person only ever, especially in law enforcement, military, anything like that, take a singular gun safety course. You are only ever drawing your gun and being ready to shoot it if you have intent to shoot. He is a trained military person, I'm assuming. And if that's the case, he knows this. We as the public know he knows this, which means that when he goes for his gun before she does anything, he's already drawing with the intent of being able to shoot her. And then after that, as you heard from the initial audio, it's not one self-defense shot. It's not a warning shot. It is 3 point-blank shots to her. And she passed so quickly, many are saying, and I have not seen the autopsy for this, and I don't know that it has actually been publicly released, but due to the quickness of everything happening, that had to be likely a headshot. This is from somebody who's supposed to be protecting U.S. citizens. That's this touting here. I don't think that's true. I think that many of you watching probably also never thought that was really the case. And this is highlighting it. Now let's hear the Trump administration talk about it.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased.
That is one of the most singular, disgusting deliveries from a politician I have heard. Nothing about what she stated was true. Maybe they were on whatever their fucking mission was. But you look at the footage, there was no attack from her. She wasn't irate. She wasn't causing any damage. 4 militaristic men converged on her vehicle, were aggressive towards her, as very clear by her nonverbal communication, prematurely drew a gun with intent to fire that gun as per their military training, and then they killed her instantly. No questions asked. Nobody was at actual risk. The man at the front of the car was not at actual risk. Not even close to an actual risk. And if you have doubts about that, look at her goddamn tires. And then they step up and say some garbage like this. This is a clear and obvious manipulation from the government. They killed an innocent civilian in front of people for no good reason. And then they go up in front of the public and lie to you about it. If this footage didn't exist, we would just have to trust them. Just sit with that for a second. If you're in America, sit with that. I mean, if you're elsewhere in the world, I mean, sit with it as well.
He's so mad, he's shaking.
And then at the end of her stupid little delivery, she says that Renee was hit and maybe was deceased. That is a manipulation tactic, drawing verbal distance from the actions being delivered as opposed to what we are being told. So the ICE agent shot point blank. This is 3 to 4 feet. That's not an accident. That's not like, oh, maybe he'll miss it. He's point blank 3 times. It's not like a bullet happened to hit her and now she might be passed away. Not like how they're presenting it to be. This was intentional aggression. So many lines were crossed to get to this point. Now let's listen to something a little bit more grounded and realistic and not so lofty and deceitful.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the f*** out of Minneapolis.
And there we go. I couldn't agree more. I would encourage more than just Minneapolis. Get the fuck out. You're not wanted here. And again, this is not going to be received super well by certain groups. And honestly, oh my God. If you look at this story and you're still in defense of that, you are an idiot and get the fuck out of my channel now. So that's my summary of this situation. The ICE agents, as shown by their nonverbal communication, were aggressive from the get-go. It's not like one guy was exclusively spearheading this. They moved as a team. Aggressive. One of those agents prematurely drew a gun before there was a risk. Prematurely drew a gun with, again, according to his training, the only time the gun is drawn is with the intent to shoot. Prematurely draws a gun and fires 3 times point blank into a mother of 3 who was a big, scary dental hygienist and credit union worker before that. What a joke. That's this video. If you disagree, I don't care.
I agree with him. Seriously do. Okay, I did choose 5 more videos to go over, but I don't have time. I have something I have to do in about 7 minutes and 15 seconds. So basically the gist of it is everybody else that I was planning on listening to and their videos and stuff, they say the same thing. The same thing. I do not believe this person was in any danger, or anybody was in any danger from this 37-year-old mother of three who lost her life just because she was telling the neighbors that ICE was in the area. I'm going to let you go on that note. And I thank you for being here. If you're watching on replay, thank you for being here. Please hit the thumbs up. I appreciate everyone here. I appreciate my moderators. I have a wonderful team of moderators. I appreciate all the people that come and view my videos. And I appreciate you. Do something nice for someone, even if it's be the reason they smile today, and search for Christ. I'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend.